Hey guys, this is Josh from Team Messina Gates, and I'm bringing you my Drytron deck profile that I took to my tournaments when I'm at. I finished 301, tied in the last round, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into the deck profile. So yeah, for the main deck, it was 42 cards. For one with 42, I was at 40, but I did the math on it, and I run, let's see, 3 alpha, 3 zeta, 3 gamma, and 2 delta. And like I said, I did the math on it, and this right here equates to, you got 11 names right here, just off of that alone. And then you add in the 3 cyber emergencies, you're at 14, and then we finish it off with 17 names, or 17 ways to a name. In this deck, you want to at least open 2 names, and then this is just like the most optimal way, I think, to open up a name. Granted, games 2 and 3, you can side out a couple of these guys to put in more hand traps going second cards, but for starting out, you at least want to open 2 names. That way you're kind of guaranteed to at least go into your combo. Like I said, did the math on it. Even though it's 42, you still have roughly like a 70% chance to open up 2 names, so yeah, that's fine. So 17 Drytron monsters. I guess in case anyone didn't know, searches out any Drytron name, specials the Drytrons from deck. Delta, tribute, Drytron or ritual, reveal a ritual or a ritual spell, draw 1. You run, like I said, 3 gamma I think is pretty good because gamma helps you actually push through interruptions. So, or play through interruptions a lot easier. So if you have him and 2 other names, it's just, you bait out a couple things and gamma just kind of gets you into the XZ. Because he reborns 1 when he's summoned. Obviously 3 zeta, they get the ritual spell, and lastly, alpha, because alpha gets you the ritual monsters. But yeah, 17 names worked pretty well for me. 3 diviner. I was thinking about playing an orange light, but I decided against it because I'm not running the Herald of Ultimateness in this build just because with Ava banned. You can still run it. I'm not saying it's bad, but it just, I felt you don't get as much value as you usually could off of it. I mean, it's still something to consider with like 3 and maybe like an orange light or orange light or 2, and then run the Ultimateness. But since I'm not running the Ultimateness, I decided not to run the orange light, so just 3 diviner. And diviner is like your normal summon of the deck, which you use to facilitate your Intis pops, your Herald dumps, and your searches for your ritual monsters or whatever piece you're missing. And in this build, as you see, like in the extra deck, I am playing Baron and the I am playing Baron and that Megalith. So there's a play where this becomes 6 because you dump Herald of Arclight and then Ophiel summons, and you turn this plus Ophiel into a Baron, so you get a negate just naturally through the combo. You get the 1 ritual spell, just 1. You don't need 2. You can play 2, but I chose not to play 2. I really don't think it's needed. And plus, it's not bad to open up the ritual spell, but at the same time, it's not something that I really care to open. But it does come up where sometimes you wish you open it, but I feel like I see that all the time anyway, so 1's enough for me. Then, we are playing the Fusion Destiny package. One thing that's different, I am not playing the Plasma because I saw like one day profile, and the guy had a very solid point, I believe, that like you're never summoning Plasma, and if you had 3 bodies to use for Plasma, you would more than likely just be doing DPE shenanigans. So there's really no point to play Plasma, and at the very least, if they get rid of your DP, you're forced to summon back, and you know, if you summon back Celestial, you don't get your Celestial draws for that turn, but you can summon back your Malicious, and at the very least, like, yeah, your Drytron names get turned off, but if you summon back Malicious, you can use your Diviner, and Diviner will dump, and you become 6, so at the very least, you can overlay these two for a Beatrice and like set up for next turn, and then at the very least, if they don't, you can swing a Beatrice and then make a Zeus, but that never came up, but at the same time, it's just there for the utility, and also like, you know, you could even just link these two away to then make your Celestial draws live again. So that's another way to think about it. But yeah, that's why I ran Malicious over Plasma, because it's more utility and it actually has situations in which like its usefulness can come up. But then like for the rituals, we run the 1 Draconids, the 1 Ben 10, the 1 Ida 10, the 1 Natasha. This is like the standard like Cyber Angel stuff. Just took out Ultimus. So I took out Ultimus because, like I said, Ava Band, I just feel like it wasn't as strong to run anymore, and I feel like it's just something that you could probably replace with more cards and make it a little more useful for like to play through Disruption. But those are the rituals, the main rituals you summon. A lot of people don't like Natasha or don't usually run her. You can cut her, but I think she's just so useful in the fact that a lot of people forget that it can just negate attacks. So sometimes you'll set up this in like Link Rebo, and they'll think, oh, I can get rid of Link Rebo, and then because this is absolutely if you like completely brick, but you set up like Natasha and like they swing Natasha, and you're just like, oh, Natasha negates the attack, and then it's almost returned, so you just keep negating attacks. And this effect is still, you know, monsters from your opponent is just, I think that's like enough to warrant to play it alone. And also the effect to gain life, like all 3 of these cards' effects have utility and usefulness. So you go into time, you have a way to just win in time. And Ben 10, you know, obviously needs no explanation. Ida 10s, you can make an argument probably to cut Ida 10 as well, but I think it's just too useful to just recycle the ritual spell a few more times and get a few extra pluses off the ritual spell. And Draconids is just there. Sometimes you can just pseudo just win games just by summoning them out and just attacking into opponent's board just because he's like an ultimate conductor. Yeah, that's, and then now we do play the Megaliths. Play 2 full, 1 Ophiel and 1 Baythor. These guys were actually pretty good, I think. Basically, the normal combo, like full, lets you get Ben 10 an extra time. Ben 10 trigger, Ophiel searches you out, either your second full or your Baythor. It doesn't really matter which one you search out, but either or is fine to search out off the Ophiel, but basically you turn Ophiel and Diviner into a Baron, because 6 and 4. And you'll just have a Baron in the middle of combo, so like they have to nib you at that point, because if not, you just have a inherent way just to make it to stop it and keep going. And even if they do nib you, you still have your gambling graveyard to keep going after the fact. And then obviously I'm playing the Scythe because of the DPD stuff. Yeah, Scythe probably should be banned, but it is what it is. I'm gonna play it until it does. 2 Lancia. This is also something you can just, I guess the bigger plus in Scythe in this deck than any other deck is you don't necessarily have to go Dagda lines. You can search Scythe off one of your Ben 10 searches if you already have like Diviner or something. You can like skip a step and just basically grab Scythe. Same thing with Lancia, just grab this. And a lot of times like I use my 2 Ben 10 searches just to grab these 2. And then I save my Dagda for the following turn because I just make Dagda, and then if I can't kill them, I can make Dagda and then have these 2 in graveyard, and I can use DP, pop Dagda, and bring these 2 back. So, or one of these 2 back, and usually when that happens, that's like you're double scything your opponent, or in matches where it matters, you're double lanciating your opponent. Like it's just pretty strong. And plus like two, I just ran two Lancey just for like also the hand trap aspect where, you know, it actually is probably the best hand trap, arguably one of the best hand traps in this format. So that's why I ran two of it instead of just the 1-in-1. But you could obviously probably just, if you want to, you could obviously cut a Lancey to make it like 41. Same thing, like you could probably cut like a name if you wanted to make it 40, but I found that this was just fine. And lastly, for some other hand traps I played 2DD Crow, the Ghost Ogre. These guys were fine. Ghost Ogre was alright. I only used it like a couple times. Actually normal summoned it one time just to have it on board so I could get my celestial draws, and plus it acts as like a form of like kind of disruption. If they do anything, you can pop it. So DD Crow is pretty good. The theory behind that is that even if you brick on this, you can normal summon it and have it be into the XV. Use it to go into an XV. So that kind of helps you play through some of the dead hands. Plus it's just utility because you can hit DPEs with this, let's see, just like the Celestials, everything, like some Phantom Knight follow up. It's pretty good. Came up with quite a few times today, but yeah, it was pretty solid for the most part. Then just for generic stuff, also thing about DD Crow is it can stop Scythe, so that's another reason. Just kind of like put it back over here because these are the cards that I played that theoretically would stop Scythe. So Call by the Grave stop Scythe, DD Crow stop Scythe, Droplet, and the Imperm. This could be the third Droplet, but I don't have a third, so we're just playing Imperm instead. Yeah, these guys all stop Scythe. Felt like having these ways to stop it, and then just generic, like these are all my going second cards. Just feel like this was enough to at least see one of these in my opening hand. Even with 42, the math lines up to be around 68% to see one of these in my opening hand, so I felt kind of safe with that. And this deck doesn't auto lose to Scythe because you can just make the big Draconids and like have a big body on board to swing over everything, or at the very least have disruption on their turn to pop a card. But that's the main deck, 42 cards. Like I said, you can easily make cuts to make it to 40, but the map doesn't really change anything with it being at 42, so I decided to run 42. Then for the extra deck, 2 of the Mu Beta Fafnir. There's times where like you can make 2 in one turn. If they imperm this one, you can usually just make the second one. Same thing, Ash it or anything like negate this, you just can make the second one. It came up a couple of times. Plus, like, you know, it's an easy way to make Zeus if you really want to. The one Beatrice, still running that because it can come up. I don't think I made it a single time, but it's just more so there for utility. This is like a flex spot. You don't have to play Beatrice, but I decided to. Because there are times where this actually comes up to, instead of going to the Baron lines, you just use like your Fool and your Diviner to make Beatrice, or you can use like same thing like I-10 and your Diviner to make Beatrice, dump a name, and keep going from there. But that line, just you don't make the Baron. That's basically it. Okay, so basically these two are like flex spots. You don't have to play these two. Play the Symbol Nightingale just as another way for Zeus to get easy access to Zeus. Like I said, these two are probably the most arguably cuttable cards in the extra deck, but I think this Beatrice just has so much utility where you should play it. Whereas Symbol Nightingale, it's really only there just to like ensure Zeus through like back row. That's basically it. But you don't have to play it. Then like Downerd Zeus. Downerd, I particularly think Downerd's just good because a lot of times that extra material does in fact come up. So having that extra send, I think is worth playing Downerd. That's all for the season. Obviously I'm playing the Baron. Yeah, never summoned it at all, but it's there for the Diviner Ophiel line. But you don't really, there's not really a reason sometimes to make this go in second, but there's also something like kind of like a cool interaction you can do is like you can make Baron pop your Scythe during your turn, Scythe goes to graveyard, and then during your punch turn, you can floor effect to shuffle itself back to then summon Scythe. That's another way to get Scythe out or like a Lancey out. So that's just something, I mean, utility's there. So has its usefulness other than just the negate. But like I said, I never actually made it because like going second sometimes like you just rather kill your opponent, so you just don't even really need to go into this line of play. But it's there if you need it. And then obviously the one Arclight. There's sometimes where you can like make this card if they imperm your like Diviner and you have like a Gamma, but sometimes it's like probably not too worth going into, but like hard making, but it is what it is. You can make this, and then if you have enough plays to keep going, you can just make like Herald plus like, usually you can make like a Herald plus like a DPE sometimes, so that's kind of like something that you could do, but if you do that, you don't get your it's your slash withdrawals, but it's okay. I said I thought it was pretty fine. It was definitely not never hard made it, like I said, but it's definitely something to consider, and it can stop the droplets from your board, so something to think about. And when you tribute it to negate something, you get is free search of the ritual anyway, so. But it's mostly there as a diviner target. Same thing with Intis, just diviner target. And then the DPE. DPE doesn't really need an explanation. Pop Scythe, pop Lancia, pop Dagda. Just looping this card, and then it just keeps coming back. So yeah, DPE. I guess you could call this a Scythe deck, but it does a little more than just summon Scythe. Link Rebo for the links, the one Phoenix, Verte, Dagda, and then Moral and that's basically all the links. Sword, I think is better than Access Code because in this deck, you know, it's super easy to get to Sword. Plus, like any Drytron, like Gamma plus Sword is game because Gamma will bring out a 2K, so that's AK exactly. So I just think Sword is better than Access Code in this instance. Then looking at Dagda, it seems like sometimes people forget. It's like there's times where I would make this turn 2, well turn 3 technically, if I couldn't kill them. I'd make this turn 3, and DP would come back, and I just pop this during their standby, and then Dagda triggers, and I would just summon Scythe again. So that's just something that came up quite a bit, and then, you know, there's Birthday, no explanation needed, Phoenix, and then, yeah, the Linker Bow. So that's it for the extra deck. Now moving on into the side deck. Side deck obviously should be whatever you feel like you'll be playing the most, or just situations you recall. So this is what I decided. The third Lancia, 3 Nibiru. I think Nibiru is still good. It's just probably I just wouldn't main deck it. At least not in this deck. Like sometimes like you need like this plus like another hand trap to really hurt the adventure stuff, but you know, this plus like Imperm actually, you know, just works, or this plus like an Ogre. So you can main deck it, but I just chose decided 3 Droll just because, you know, Droll, it stops searching. So it somewhat works in the Phantom Knight matchup, stops them from really searching like their fog blades, their boots and stuff with boots, and like it stops the adventure stuff. So like you wait till they do adventure things, and then you can just drop a Droll. Plus it also hurts this deck, so I don't, you know, hurts invoked Dogmatica shenanigans, and yeah, a lot of decks search, so that's why I decided to play Droll. It's debatable, but you know, some card I would like to have, but then like the Reboot and Harpy's Feather Duster, and then 3 Cosmic. This could be twins, but I just chose Cosmic because once again, this stops Scythe. It's really just ways to stop, like other ways to stop Scythe, and these are your real 2 like big back row get rid of hers. But yeah, like I said, these were like Twin Twister. I guess these always alternate between Twin Twister and Cosmics, but it mostly just depends on it's personal preference, honestly. Like, you could run twins, you could run cosmic, you could run lightning storms. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't have lightning storms, but so mine's just between twins and cosmics. And then for the last card, I decided in 3 anti-spell just because anti-spell can stop the dark ruler, stop the droplet. Well, they have to chain directly to this, so it's something that kind of like forces them to prematurely droplet. So you can like flip this during the standby. I mean, during like the draw phase, you flip this, and then they're forced to use droplets then, and then during standby, your DP you can come back and you still have your sights in. So that's kind of the theory on that. And they can't call by the graveyard site either. So those are the two. That's the things. So like I said, they're basically forced to flip droplet. They're early or have cosmic. So those are the only two. That's the thought process right there. So yeah, there's that, and that's the deck profile. So I finished 301. My matchups were Brave Trinket, Heroes, Cyber Dragons, and lastly I played against Live Twins, and we ended up tying. It was a really good game, a lot of back and forth. Made me just realize like how much this deck can grind when it needs to, just because like you keep constantly having the names in rotation. But that's gonna do it for the deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So catch you guys next time. Peace.